Hey guys, Saif here with another WoW MOP guide. Basically, I've been getting a lot of questions about better ways to use Soul Reaper and how you can use it and make it easier to use. So basically, I've started using this add-on. It's called WeakAuras, and basically, it gives you an indicator every time your target is at 35%. And you'll see it right here. You heard the sound effect. You have the indicator in the middle of the screen and the indicator around the ability. Um, this makes this much easier to use, especially it's a new ability, and I know watching the percent on somebody's health can be a little hard at times, especially when you have so much going on, especially in arenas. So having an indicator every time someone's at 35% makes this ability much easier to use. I've also enlarged that toolbar there, as you can see, to make some of my cooldowns easier to see. Um, but what it does is it puts the indicator, you design a HUD indicator so it's in the middle of the screen, and you also have a ability indicator. So it basically is giving you two things. If you're looking at your toolbar or if you're looking in the middle of the screen, you know exactly when you should be using that ability and when a target's at 35%. I'm going to go over all my settings with WeakAuras and show you exactly how to use it in the second part of the video. It's a very easy to use program. You can download it easily. So I'm going to go over all the settings and so you can get this exact same setup and it makes it Soul Reaper a lot easier to use. Alright guys, I'm going to show you how WeakAuras works now and my settings. You can get this add-on like I was saying, basically any add-on World of Warcraft site, Curse, Warcraft add-ons. So you're going to type in WA. This is after you've installed WeakAuras. Um, Okay, I'll show you the settings and how to make the for your Soul Reaper, how to make the two indicators when a target hits 35%. Alright, so you're gonna first off you're gonna want to start a new one. Um, you can check, basically click what type of model you want. What it's going to do is going to put the symbol in the middle of the screen. Basically, you can click on that symbol, drag left and right to adjust the size. Each of these corners has a little tab. You can move it left, right, up, and down to kind of, maneuver or, make it taller, wider. And you can also do that here in the settings. The other thing is, when you first get on the page, you can have a display here. You can click the display, you can adjust what do you want it to look like. There's plenty of options here. Just hit OK after you've selected, and then like I was saying, you can resize it on the screen, or you can do the height and everything right here. You can do it centered. Plenty of settings here if you really want to play with that. I have mine set to background, and basically what this does is you really don't have to have it for this one, but the actual the second one. The second one, I kind of wanted my symbol coming behind the ability, like lighting around it. Um, but see, you can have it either integrated or back. It really doesn't matter. I've played with this integrated and back. You probably want to use either integrated or back for this one. The top one really doesn't matter. Back is really something used to come behind the abilities, but since it's in the middle of the screen, it doesn't matter. Um, so we're back on the main one here after you've resized it, and I like to use glow. Um, okay, we're going to go to trigger, and trigger basically is the trigger point in which this appears on your screen. You can copy any other settings after you've done your size, picked your symbol, set all your presets. Alright, I have two triggers. Basically, you really only have to have one. The second trigger is just basically something that I was experimenting with and I didn't end up using, so you really only need one trigger. Alright, so you're going to want to change the first drop down box. You may have to add a trigger when you're first starting out, so keep that in mind. You're going to want to go to status, so basically the status of one's health. You can do events, buffs. Basically, if you're trying to track a buff, you would want to go to the aura one instead. But we're wanting to do a stealth status of somebody's health. You can see all different types of status. You can make it when a monk gets 4 chi or a warrior gets full rage. You can make this any kind of really indicator you want. Second thing is make sure you have these two checked. You can copy these settings if you need to pause the video. Basically, you want to put this on target because the target you're targeting when they're 30%, not the player. So make sure that's set to target. You can also do this to focus, like setting up, if a spell steal when a druid casts cyclone, you can have it appear. You can do similar stuff like that. So you don't actually want health, you want health percent, because everybody's health is going to vary depending on your target, plate, cloth, leather. So what you're going to want to go down to is health percent, click that. Then you're going to want to go to less than or equal to 35%. So when they get 35% or less than or equal, this indicator will trigger. Okay, the hide option is basically like you were seeing in the beginning when I was showing you how it works. If you are targeting someone, you use it on them and switch targets, it'll actually hide it because your new target is not below 35%. And that's why you need this hide feature, because if you don't have it when you switch targets, you'll still have the indicator. So you want it to hide when your target is above 35%. So you're going to go down to custom on hide. Automatic is really going to have a lot of delays and definitely don't recommend using that. You're going to once again go down to health and you're going to say greater than 35. You can do greater than or equal would make it, if they have 35, it would mess with it. So you want it greater than 35. So basically 36%, it's going to hide it, meaning you won't use Soul Reaper. Basically, that's basically all you're going to need. I'll go over these last couple of tabs just in case there's a small variance, I'm not sure, and you can double check your settings to, if you're having problems getting it to work. And then I'll go over the indicator on the actual ability. So basically, just in combat on this page. I actually have a custom sound here, so when it does trigger, I get basically 3 reminders. I get a sound effect, the emblem on my screen, and the background behind the actual key. You're gonna look down on this page. There's nothing. Basically, I have it sound effect, music, and I selected a sound effect I like. This is optional. You can do it if you want to. You don't have to. Going to the last page, basically glow, presets, all that. Make sure all that's the same. You can adjust some of these settings if you're finding something you don't like. Okay, now let's go to the actual key of Soul Reaper, the emblem behind it. Alright, so we have Soul Reaper right here, the background emblem. We're going to go to the display and basically have it integrated so it's kind of mixed between the actual ability and the emblem. You can also set it to background depending on what you like. Again, color, some of these settings you can just copy. Like I was saying, you can, with this little box, you can drag and move this any way you want to behind your key where you want it. So that's basically going to do it for the first page, just like I was explaining in the first add-on, but it's just a smaller size and behind the ability. The trigger page is basically going to be the same thing. This is one trigger, like I was saying in the other one. You don't need the 2 triggers. Health, target, percent, all this page is basically identical to the other page, meaning it goes on and off identical to the other indicator. In combat, actions, I only need the sound effect for one. I don't want to hear double sound effects when they both do the exact same thing at the exact same time. Go to the last page, and that's basically going to do it for WeakAuras. If you have any questions or having trouble getting this add-on to work, leave a comment There's also other, you can do this more simple. You could just adjust your health to 35%, but I've noticed for new abilities, this is definitely the way to go to make these indicators, just so you're more familiar using them. Also helps to enlarge the size of new abilities and things that you have trouble using, just so you remember about them. Um, as you go on, you may be able to move these, out of the way. But I just kind of put all my cooldowns there and then did indicators to make it even more obvious. And of course, you can do, say, for the Icy Touch Dispel, I made another one for that. And basically, anytime the target has a shield, earth shield, anything that is dispellable, it'll indicate right there. I'll go over these settings real fast if you want to copy it down and try it. If you can't get it to work, like I said, you can leave a comment. I'm not going to go into too much detail about this. You kind of have the idea of how this program works now, and you should be able to make these indicators for every icon if you want. So actually I have a lot of triggers, and basically you'll need a trigger for every ability that you want it to indicate when they use it. I was just testing with Anti-Magic Shell. You cannot actually dispel that, not with Icy Touch, because it gets absorbed. So I don't know if that's intended, could be a bug. I don't know if you're supposed to be able to dispel it or not, but I was just using it as a test thing. You can see all the abilities that I have. And how you want to do is find the abilities that you want to do. Is you want to go to Wowhead, look up the ability in the top in the search bar that gives you the address. You'll see a number at the end, and that's the ability ID. So you can get your ability IDs off Wowhead, and you can make as many triggers as you want for each ability. You put in the, of course you set it to buffs this time. You put in the spell ID, it'll show the icon, buff, target, so it'll indicate it every time they have that buff on them. Just quickly going over this. Hope you guys enjoyed this video showing you a little better way to use Soul Reaper, make it easier to use. If you'd like to check out more guides that I'll be putting up later on, you can subscribe. And of course, if you like the video, you can thumbs up. And I will talk to you guys later. More content coming out soon.